all right.
Yeah, I thought I saw him driving in that. About the same time I did, unless I was misidentified his truck.
That's my audio turned off.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for Ryan. This is my first banging of this gavel, so I call the meeting to order.
I'm gonna pass this one flag tonight. I forgot to bring the other one.
Oh, yes. Sandy, would you lead us in the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So, first item on our agenda is the approval of our consent agenda. I'm happy to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Second that. All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, 4 passes in favor, 4 and 1 absent. Okay, the next item is a request for agenda modification. We're going to add just a bullet under the superintendent report, B2, to get a construction update. Then I also would like to add an item under strategy and discussion. It would be .3, which is the OSBA LGBTQIA2S+ Advisory Committee. And I have some information about that I can share at that point. Does anyone else have anything on?
We talked about the elementary school and the enrollment fee and me just sponsoring that. Who and how, does that money go to Jennifer? Does that go to Eric or?
I think we can add that on the agenda when we get to, maybe you can just answer that when we get to the financial report. Thank you, good reminder.
And can I add one quick thing? Just a overall confirmation on the all staff appreciation barbecue. We add that really quick?
That's a, yeah, and that's a piece of my report too, that we can just add
Okay.
to that, or we can add it as somewhere. That doesn't have anything.
Yeah, that sounds like a good spot to slot that one too. Okay. Moving on to public comment. I do have one card. Were there any other emails or anything? Okay. So I'll read our public comment statement very quickly. Welcome to this meeting of your school board. The Paloma School Board of Directors values the opinions and input of students, staff, parents, and community members. Tonight we will allot up to, since I only have one card, I'm going to say 10 minutes for public comments, with each individual or group being allowed 3 minutes. You must have turned in a green school board audience participation card to the board executive assistant before the meeting was called to order in order to present a public comment. If your green card was turned in after the beginning of the meeting, it will be distributed to all board members after the meeting. The board requests that a public comment add information or a perspective that has not already been mentioned previously, and that the patron refrain from repeating a similar point. The board will not hear comments regarding any individual district staff member. For complete board policy regarding public comment at board meetings, please visit our website for policy BDDH. All right. And Clyde, if you want to come up. Clyde Clyde and I had the pleasure of meeting at the OSBA summer conference just last month, so welcome.
Thank you.
No, not that long ago.
Thank you, board members. I come today seeking a nomination to run for Region 10 OSBA Board of Directors. I'm a new board member. I've completed my first year in Lebanon, and I must say it has been an experience. I was hit with a lot of things all at one time and expected to understand, know, and also make decisions. I think everyone here has probably been in the same situation. Not only did I put my name on the dotted line to serve for the Lebanon School Board, I had a situation arise where I could get an appointment to the OSBA Board of Directors Region 10, and I stuck my hand out there and said, I'll do it. I must say it has been an extremely fulfilling situation. I have met people from across the state that I probably would not have met. I learned things about school districts across the state that I probably would not have been exposed to if I had just stayed in my little cocoon in Lebanon and dealt with Lebanon's situations. This is my first time that, as a sitting board member, I've been able to come out and see what goes on in other boards. So hopefully, if I can get a nomination, this will be the first of many. And then anything that you guys need help with at the OSBA level in order to elevate policy situations, funding, stuff like that. I would love to have the opportunity to serve you. Are there any questions?
Read that over as well. Well, thank you so much. And what is the deadline for nominations to be submitted?
September 27th. The last page in there is the nomination form. I filled out the heart of the material. The rest of it is for the board to fill out if you wish to go through with the nomination.
Okay, that's fantastic. We have another board meeting before then. So that would give us all a chance to not just skim through, but to read through in depth before we bring it before the board. So thank you so much. I also just want to release you to the wilds if you don't want to stay for our whole meeting, but you are absolutely welcome to stay. I like to give people permission to leave if they choose. So yes, thank you so much. We'll make some copies of that so that we each have a copy that we can read through.
And my contact information is on there if you wish to contact and ask more specific questions.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
For you.
Yes.
So as part of my being on the school board, I'm hoping to attract funding for vocational programs. Is that anything you can help with through OSBA?
So right now, OSBA and NSBA, COSA, all the major players for school involvement got together and had a meeting with the Tina Kotex, which is the governor. And together, they got Tina to actually add to her budget $515 million for the starting school budget. That money is equal to the ESSER funds from COVID. We're going to return back to our budgets. That's going to be money that we can use. Also, too, in the OPC, we're also working on removing the cap for the special education. Right now, I believe it's 11%, and we're trying to get it to 14, 15, 16, where it needs to be to actually accommodate what we are doing in our schools by law. So those two things together will actually help with your vocational education fund.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And on to association reports, PEA.
Again, a few words. We're good. That's it. And that's probably more than I even want to say. So.
Fantastic.
I'll brag about you a little bit later.
Okay.
Right,
that as well.
Yeah. So, I am not Dave.
And OSBA. quickly we're moving through this. I'm gonna say it's my leadership and not just the fact that it's August. Just teasing. Superintendent report.
Yes, indeed. Can you enable sharing, please? Or maybe not. So a couple of things to highlight for us as we get ready to start the school year. First of all, it's not in my report, but you take advantage of things as you have them. We hired earlier this summer a new student services director, and Kelsey's with us tonight. So Kelsey Gradenis is acclimating quickly to her role in the district, and has been busy doing a lot. Kelsey, this is the board.
-1.
Yeah, -1. So we had a couple of opportunities, and one that we take often at the start of the school year is to attend the School Administrators Summer Conference. And that happened this year, August 1st and 2nd in Eugene. Not everybody went of our administrative team, but a number of us went. And that's been a typical for us over time as we've gone to that session, which has some large breakout speakers, some small group sessions. Because it's in Eugene, we come home Thursday night, we go back Friday morning, at noontime it ends, we go have lunch together, and then we all go home, and we never get together to do more, other than regular meetings. So this year, this is the beginning of my 17th year in Philomath, and we have never had an administrator retreat. Never. And so this year, we took the group to Newport. And we went over on a Thursday morning and came back Friday afternoon. We all had dinner together with families on Thursday night, because it also helps to recognize that families are a big part of our administrators' gift to the district, because they give up their families for athletic events in the evenings and music concerts, and I've got to go deal with the alarm at the school or whatever else it is. And so it was great, and we had the opportunity to really have some good conversations about where we stand. We talked about goals. And so when we do our work session time in October, I'll have some good information from that level of conversation. And a lot of it was work time to be able to make sure people could be ready for in-service week and ready for the school year. And to be able to really think about what want to happen. And we finished on about 3 o'clock, I think, on Thursday afternoon, and people could go for a walk or shop or take a nap or whatever. And it was interesting to see different people moving in different groups. And this group is a group that we actually talked about, instead of ground rules for a meeting, I picked up the term collective commitments from our superintendent's group, and that kind of stuck. And one of those things, for instance, is we are comfortable enough with one another that if somebody has to miss a meeting or miss something, that we can ask each other what happened. It's those kinds of things. Or if we have other things that we need to do, we recognize that those things come first, and we're going to support each other to help each other out. So it was just a mixture of process and time. Jennifer did some sharing about some budget information. She did the same abbreviated presentation that she had done with the Board of Budget Committee. Just to take time to be together just meant a lot. And so I'm very grateful for the opportunity that we had to do it. And Garth Giroux, who is the new principal at the Philomath Academy, and the other half of his time as his district administrator, was actually able to join us on Friday. He was hired on Wednesday, and I said, while we're at it, can you come over on Friday to the coast? And he did, and got a chance to meet people. So it was really nice. Felt very good, and I'm thankful that we were able to do it. I'm going to pass by the construction project and get through a couple of other things first. Student registration is happening. So the on-site registration for our K-8 schools took place yesterday. On-site registrations, with the exception of new students, started today at high school for seniors and juniors, and tomorrow for sophomores and freshmen. And what I did was put together for you some preliminary data. And I say very preliminary in comparison to what we had on September 21st of last year. The differences will be, some people are on vacation, they haven't come in and registered yet. The high school has not seen the whites of the eyes of freshmen and sophomores, so there may be more new students than we realize that aren't in the system. And so we're kind of waiting for those that either come in and register because they've been on vacation, and also those that have moved somewhere else and they say, oh, I forgot to ask for records, or to records to be released to my new school. So we're kind of in that limbo place right now. But if you look, this is what I looked at today in terms of numbers. And by grade level at our schools, if you look on that second page down there at the bottom, you'll see that this year, for instance, there's 32 students currently enrolled in Blodgett. Last year, on the 21st of September, there were 35. Clemens is currently at 173. They were at 178 September 21st last year. So on, that you can see through that. And so when you get to that point and see that our 23-24 total, including Kings Valley, was 1,674. Currently, in this preliminary count before school starts, we're at 1,662. So we're 12 students different.
You expect that to go.
And we expect that will probably balance itself out with more students that will get coming in. But just from a curiosity point, I wanted to kind of take a look and see where we were. And I heard from the elementary school that they had maybe 2/3 of their families show up for their registration yesterday. But that still means there's a third out there that didn't show. And we always know that if we've got people on vacation or that just missed the day or something like that, and we'll pick them up and take care of them. The other thing is, now that as registrations are completed, so the middle school and the elementary school in Clemens actually will start calling families that didn't show up for registration that ended the year with us last year to be able to say, are you coming back? If you are, make sure you register, please. And so all those phone calls start right now. So I feel pretty good, even with the enrollment caps we put in place. It just, the numbers, Jennifer and I kind of looked at each other all summer and said, is it going to play out or is it not? And so far it seems to be playing out quite well. So.
Do you have the numbers to strengthen rural families going again this year in the pre-kindergarten?
They are. We got some additional, I reported last month, we got some additional money from, in fact, we just met on it today, from Birth to 5 funds that are a 1-year extra, so to speak. And so that money is available, has to be used by June 30. And we applied for and got money from that we could actually say at the start of this year, preschool families, you will be going all year. It will be a full year schedule. And we're not going to cancel days, we're not going to cancel teachers, we're not going to anything like that. And so that has been a real bonus to be able to do that. And I think, and I'm going to look at Christopher because he might know it because he's on the board. I think that it was 16 and 16, so I think we were at 32 as a max capacity
I think that's correct.
of students, and I think that we're at the 32.
Yeah.
So, but the nice part is it'll be overall.
So in next time, if you can track that in the next chart, that would help figure out who's coming to elementary school. If that number is maxed or dropping, that gives you a year notice before hitting first grade. You're kind of just tracking, not that they're all coming,
Right.
but if there's only 3 kids in 1 year, the likelihood of a big first grade class is small versus, but that's
Pre-K.
But the way that the money is set up right now for the way that the preschool, the Next Steps preschool is currently set up, is enrollment is set for students who will be attending school in full.
Okay.
So we don't take students who, with full knowledge, are going to go to Corvallis or Albany or somewhere else in the next year. So it's a good piece of information. We also know when we're talking about schools that this year, the Refuge Church is starting a kindergarten class. They have 12 slots available. When I talked to them, they had 7 filled. And they would like to grow into other grade levels as time goes by.
Where are they located?
They're over in the old Nazarene Church.
Okay.
And so, but we've been engaged in good conversation with them, which has been really nice. We've had good conversation also with Fulham Montessori, who does only kindergarten, to be able to make sure that we have positive relationships there as well.
Do we know what their enrollment is for kindergarten?
I do not know off the top of my head. I have to go back. I can go back to my notes, but I don't know off the top of my head. Okay. In-service week, we do have set up, and believe it or not, Monday, next week, is new employee in service, and we'll start in here at 9 o'clock.
Coming fast.
And we will spend as a district staff roughly 2 hours with new employees. And at 11 o'clock, we'll have lunch come in for everybody. Classified staff members will go to their schools after lunch to meet the administrators and to tour their schools and kind of get a sense of what's there. We have a tradition with PEA and Nicole, so see, this is where you get plugged, to be able to have licensed staff paired with a veteran staff member in the district, to be able to help them do whatever they need for the rest of the day. So if somebody says, I really do a rotten job at putting bulletin boards up, so if you can help me put bulletin boards up, I'll feel good. Somebody else could say, I got bulletin boards nailed, but I have no idea what I'm going to do the first week of school. So it's really up to those partners to be able to work together. And Nicole and Char do a good job of being able, and predecessors do a good job of being able to make sure that the pairings are fitting. So the new high school math teacher is Jody Mode, is a math teacher at the high school. The new music teacher at Blodgett is another teacher at Blodgett. So it's not just who wants to and will slap somebody in your classroom. It really is focused attention on being able to make sure it's someone that can really provide a positive level of support. And so individuals will be paid for that day, and that is our new employees, but it's also those people who come in to be able to help and support the teachers.
Do you have a feel for how many new employees we have, roughly?
What was my last count? 16? Yeah. And that's across of administrative, unrepresented, licensed and classified, mostly licensed and classified. But yeah, and we're still tagging in some people. We've got some instructional assistants that we're working on pulling in at this 11th hour. And we're finishing the finalization of some crossing guards to be able to make sure. So it's just those last little pieces right now that we're trying to put together. Tuesday is our welcome back breakfast at 7:45. We have a treat this year in that Dee Fish and Tom Sartola, who are the food service employees at the high school, are making breakfast. So it won't be an order of bagels, and I mean, once we lost catering support from a lot of people, that's kind of what it was. You just did bagels and stuff like that. So they've got, I understand, quite a menu lined out that they will be preparing at least some proteinaceous kinds of things for folks to eat. The school board is welcome, and in fact, we'd encourage you, if you are available, to come join us for that morning breakfast. I will start at 8:10 with some state of the district information. At 8:30, our professional learning is going to be, we call it relevant roulette, and it's going to be 25-minute sessions where people will rotate through 4 different sessions. Some of these pieces of information we've included in staff meetings at the start of the school year. And you know, last year in service, we had a lot of synergy stuff to do. The administrators basically said, let's get through some of this stuff that we can get through in the in-service time we have, and it saves us in our professional learning time that we have into September to already have this stuff done. At 10:35, people will return to their individual schools or departments. At 11:30, there will be lunch, and it's that lunchtime that OSEA will have their lunch meeting. And then in the afternoon, it'll be school staff meetings and professional learning. Wednesday, we'll start with school staff meetings and professional learning. We'll hit the barbecue at 11:15. And then the remainder of Wednesday is classroom preparation time. And all of Thursday for licensed staff is classroom preparation time. And I forgot to put in that the licensed staff lunch meeting will happen on that Thursday. So we've got a full packed session. It's in our collective bargaining agreement that the licensed staff of our 3 days, of our 24 hours, that they get 12 in their classrooms. And so that's why we have a full day on Thursday and half the day on Wednesday that are solely dedicated to people being able to do classroom prep. Our classified staff are on site all Tuesday and Wednesday, and in the Wednesday afternoon, they get a chance to actually connect with the teachers they will be working with and be able to gather information. The barbecue, you had some specific questions.
I just wanted to make sure we put that out there. We'll start serving at 11:15.
Yep.
Be done at noon. I talked to Rick. We're gonna start setting up about 9:30
Okay.
and have the barbecue set up. He's gonna go get the city's barbecue again.
Yeah, he said he was gonna do that.
And Mary has ordered everything except for onions and tomatoes and ribeye goes. And
I want to clarify, the burger is 120 patties or 120 pounds?
120 patties. And Ryan's gonna get us that burger.
When do we need to be there to start helping, start cooking, whatever?
Bring a spatula.
Yeah, long handle.
Oh,
I wore my glasses over last year.
Yeah, right.
so we have 120 patties, and then we also had
Some hot
hot
dogs.
dogs. Okay, perfect.
We have veggie burgers also.
I think Mary has that in the
A
letter.
whole lot of those last year.
I'll ask Mary.
Actually, you did do quite a few.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were very
I
popular.
told Sandy to bring the vegan patties and she believed me.
I did. I go, really?
Just 10 flakes a
So I'm assuming, Joe, that we'll start cooking by before 11 or 11?
You don't want to do too early because then they start getting cold, so.
Right, we're gonna keep
Once we get
it warm like we
going,
did last
I'll
year.
cook pretty fast. 10:45 maybe to start actually cooking meat on the barbecue.
Yeah, probably, we'll get it going
I
before
just want to
that.
make sure I'm there with plenty of time.
Yes, have long spatula will travel.
It was a little hot last year. Joe was cooking, burned all his hair off, and we had no spatula. They couldn't melt in.
Yeah.
You literally
Went
melted the
through.
spatula.
Okay,
Nobody
two or
wanted
three
us to burn all his
spatulas.
hair.
I damaged the plastic lenses in my glasses because it was getting so hot. I mean, literally, the lenses shattered.
So are you cooking again this year?
Yeah, I assume so.
That'd be good.
Very cool.
Just wanted to make sure.
Take one for the
Not a
gift.
big fire.
Just bring a big leather apron and. Firefighter gloves.
And if there's anything I can do, I'm happy to help.
Okay, thanks.
I mean, I'll be there that morning, but, you know,
Sure.
I'll cut onions or
Okay,
tomatoes
Yeah.
or whatever.
well, Rick and I will probably be there about 9:30 to start doing that, so.
And this is one heck of a dates to remember sheet, look at that.
Yeah, and the dates to remember, I just put everything, I wanted to put very clearly the dates where, you know, which group starts and, you know, how that all plays together. So September 3rd, we're operating on September 3rd with our logic kinders, our second graders, our sixth graders, our ninth graders. And those students will be on an early release schedule. We're only going to keep people half a day for that first day. And then September 4th will be a first full day. Clemens is a little bit different because they've got some assessments going on. And so really wanted to make sure we had clarity on who goes when, to be able to make it really clear. The last thing you'll notice I put on there, September 18th, which is after our September 12th board meeting, is the Wednesday evening that we've selected for our back to school open house. And because we will not have met in our board retreat setting to be able to assign schools and all those things, and just keep the schools that you have right now.
Yeah.
And that would be, I mean, you're welcome to go to all schools, but that would be the representation. And then we just talked this morning about the time schedule mirroring last year. So I'll make sure that that comes out because we stagger what times the different schools have available. So I'll make sure that that works. The other piece of the puzzle that I wanted to put out there that Rick had talked about was an update on our construction project. And I'll talk a little bit about it and then we'll throw some pictures up there. The Clemens Primary covered play shed, Jennifer took some awesome pictures. We've got some finished work that will happen after the start of the school year. But it doesn't detract from the safety for the kids. So it's not like something's going to fall over and hurt them or anything else like that. So that we know.
So is it usable?
It would be, my understanding is it would be usable. There were some drainage things and some stuff like that they had to finish out and redo some things. They actually at Clemens have the first week of school in essence because the 3rd and the 4th are assessment days for their kids, so there's no kids out of recess. They have half their students on Thursday and the other half of their students on Friday for a half a day. And so if they needed to use inside recess space because of half the kids for half a day. So they really have been given another week to be able to finish up the project. So when they say it's not going to be done by the start of school, by the time we actually have students in full in the facility, our understanding is that we should be, if not done, right to that last little nth degree. And Joey and Ryan have been staying on top of that to be able to make sure where things are at. That's where they discovered that, where did that go? That little iPads, you can't necessarily see all the detail of a project map in an iPad.
Sure.
And so it's kind of like, well, but if you look at the project grids that are up on the wall, that are all drawn out, you can see that this part here talks a little bit about drainage. Oh, so it's kind of like, you gotta look at the whole big deal in order to be able to have that. And I'm just looking for that. See, share it. There it is. So Jennifer went out and she had taken pictures of the play shed when it started.
Actually, Abby did, just to say, Abby took those pictures.
Oh, Abby took these ones, okay. And so you can see that the play shed is quite monstrous. Heading all the way out from the school, almost to line up with PYAC. When Abby took me out there yesterday, it's you can see it here better, it's like a new gym. I mean, it's like a gym without walls, is what it's set up to look like, and they're finishing up the pieces along the way. You can also see from down the side of the building, from where you exit near the gym at Clemens Primary School, out to where the play shed is, that sidewalk space has been covered as well. So students can walk under cover from the school building all the way under the play shed. So they don't have that span where they get wet through all of that. And so it is quite a work of art, and it's not going anywhere.
Will there be any walls, partial walls, windbreaks, anything like that? No? Okay.
Nope. Move forward, please. There we go. And then I went out today, because the other project is this out here, 16th Street, and the opening down, ending up at 17th and Cedar. The roadway's open, and the roadway's been open since before school got out last year. If you remember correctly, the first thing that happened was the fencing came down, the walking path at the school was narrowed in, and the fencing went up. Had that not happened, the project wouldn't be finished. It was the plan to do the fencing and all that stuff at the very end, and it just wouldn't have made it. So the promise right now is, we met last week with the city and with the contractor and our staff, because we wanted to say, what's going to happen on registration day? Where do families come in? What's going to happen when teachers come back? Are we going to be ready when students come back? And so the conversation in that was that it will be finished with the exception of the grass and landscaping kinds of things by August 30th. And so, and we've noticed the uptick in people out working. You know, there had been half a dozen. Yeah, there've been about a half a dozen people kind of working on different places, but for the last 2 or 3 days in the bulk of the paving, you probably have 25 or more people out there working to finish the job. So the picture on our left is from the elementary school drive-in right out here, looking up towards Applegate. And so you can see the sidewalk has been expanded out, but you can also see that we've got, like in the other places in the city, where this has bulbed out. So we know that the buses can't make that turn onto Applegate. So we're talking to the buses about, at the end of the day, because they will come up through from 17th and come up that direction, that they will potentially go out to Main Street, make the turn on Main, and head in the direction of the high school, middle school, and Clemens, instead of turning at Applegate. That's one thing as a possibility. I think where we're going to land, though, is that the after school at Philomath Elementary, we will continue to have the buses in the parking lot. So parents would be doing the pickup from the street side. We put the buses in the parking lot like it's been for the last 3 or 4 or however many years. Longer than that, and then the buses would exit the parking lot, and from the parking lot they can get onto Applegate without having to worry about that. And then the street side for pickup would be parents. The morning time, the bus company will drop off along 16th, and then we'll pull out from there. But after school, we're going to use the parking lot. The picture on the right is looking the other direction from that same spot, so down towards Public Works. And you can see, for the most part, the really big difference in the sidewalk. It's consistent and it's wide. and that runs all the way down, which has been kind of a nice thing to be able to see. One of the things that we had talked about early on that we wanted to point out was we had talked about a crosswalk in the middle of the drive area. And we were talked to about being able to have that area raised. And the board had conversation about, we don't want to put a crosswalk in the middle of this. We want to have it go straight. When we met last week, the piece of the puzzle when we went outside is not only is this raised, but the area has been narrowed in. And because it's been narrowed in, and the way that it's set up, when Ryan Vaughn and Eric Beasley and I looked at it, it was like, kids are gonna cross there. Just because of the way the street is narrowed, they're gonna cross. And so we agreed to put the crosswalk there, and that's where we'll put our crossing guard. Because of the narrow space, kids are gonna cross. The one thing that was a question is then what happens to students at 17th and Cedar? And the conversation was 17th and Cedar has a four-way stop. Let's watch traffic patterns and see what happens. We've added a crossing guard to take care of this space right here. Then the question will become what happens at 17th and Cedar that would ask us to be able to add another crossing guard, which, I mean, we don't want to do financially, but for safety, that may be something we have to look at. The other question that was asked was, can we, this spot here, but also at 19th and Applegate, we had talked about, can we put lights out there that are not actually stoplights, but actually flashers that could be controlled by the crossing guard to let people know we got kids crossing, slow down. And right now there's no money for that. And so I think the look is to safe routes to school as a possibility, or safe routes for all is what it's called now, to be able to take a look at into the future, to be able to get some things worked out there. We have no idea, because this could alter the traffic pattern to take away some of the issues that we've had over the years. We don't know. How that would play out. The other thing we're looking at is, and we don't know if it'll work, is trying to put the plug out for high school people to not go on 19th. If you're gonna go to the high school and you can do it, stay on Main and turn at 20th or 21st and hit the high school that way, so that we don't have that 19th and Applegate jumble at all days.
Is there any further talk of limiting truck traffic on 19th?
Last I'd heard, just in passing, was somebody said, I think, that 19th is under the auspices of Benton County, which is odd.
Chris knows that.
Yes, 19th, it's a very weird situation. The county owns 19th Street except between College Street and Main Street. That's the only part the city owns. You'd think it would be between Main Street and Applegate, but no, it's between College Street and College Street and Main Street. So that's a whole thing. But I think we are still interested in trying to reroute truck traffic onto 13.
I can't make the corner of the stupid bump outs. We can't get our trucks through this town at all anymore. I can't come off 13th and go either direction, or I can't go to 13th and go towards ramming their trucks, because there's bump outs on both sides, and you're up on the curbs with your trucks, and it's the stupidest stuff.
Where from 13th on Applegate?
Every single intersection has a bump out.
Yes,
When
that's
you
true.
try to run a set of doubles and trailers or low boys, you're up on the curbs making the corners, because the bump outs come in the road that you need to swing. So all the crosswalks are going to stand there where your semis drive, because we can't make the corners. The city might have overlooked that little frog window.
Well, I'm happy to talk more about that. I mean, cities all over the country have these and trucks are able to turn on them. I think it just requires turning out further into a second lane.
Like if you're coming up 13th, Pioneer Telephone's there, line with cars, people work Pioneer.
Right.
You're trying to make a left,
Right.
can't. We're out there on the curb, going up, like by the CD&J, whatever it's called now, the Disney Head.
Is it coming south on 13?
We're
Or,
going north on 13th, trying to turn west.
To go west.
turning.
To go west.
So trying to put trucks on that road now, those bump outs, we can't make the corner, so you have to come down here and use 19 to get the bigger swing to make the corner. Because there's not enough room with all the crosswalk stuff to get your big long trucks to make the corners.
Let's talk more about that. But to answer your question, yes, the county owns 19, except for that one little stretch.
I
And
wasn't making it up, I'm glad.
yes, and then the real thing is then the county also owns most of 13. They don't own the piece sort of north of Applegate, but they do own everything south of that. So the answer to your question is that we are still in favor of trying to find a solution. It's just regardless of what the solution is, it will involve the county because we're talking about moving them from one county road to another county road, and then onto an ODOT road, with maybe a block of city road in between. So, yeah.
Puzzle pieces, that's
Yes.
Well, with this road being put through, that may help or alleviate some of the 19th problem.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole, impetus for doing this, was to try to give more, pressure relief. And yeah, I'm happy to talk more about any traffic issues.
You can't change it now, just moving the trucks, you're not gonna move on 19th, we can't make the corner.
Okay,
Trucks are staying on 19th,
okay.
because you can't.
I have a question, the 17th and Cedar. Has that been communicated to families that there won't be a crossing guard there?
We're in process of doing that since we just met last week, of being able to put out what the questions are.
Pedestrian
I've-
pathways?
I've already communicated with police and fire, and as they typically do in the first 2 weeks of school, they'll hit target points for us when we say, this is a place we would like you to be, to slow things down, and they're pretty good about doing that for us. And I've heard back from both police and fire, but the other part of it is they will tell us if there's places that, wait, this is gonna be a barn burner for right now. So.
Have you used high school students as crossing guards? We did at CHS, like it was part of the leadership class. We went to seniors in the elementary schools as one of their electives or in lieu of another class.
We have to be careful about liability, and there would still need to be someone that has oversight, but that's the only concern right there. This last picture is from where the crosswalk would be, or from the back of PES's field, down where the roads opened up. One of the other things that was asked for was a curb cut to our property to be able to make sure that we wouldn't have to pay it into the future if we ever wanted or could put something, to the south, that we wanted to do that. But contractor is now all over that and has said that cut will be made. And so that will be completed. It somehow just didn't end up getting updated in the plans to be able to do that. So that's kind of where we are with those.
Yes. Just 1 second, brainstorming with the truck thing. Are there any roads in the area that say, well, truck traffic is fine except from 7 to 8:30 in the morning, or something like that with a limit? Is there any roads that you have?
Not either. I mean, there may be like in downtown Corvallis or something.
I didn't know, I was.
Yeah.
Truck shows up, then what?
Yeah.
All right, okay, just good, that's fine.
So thank you.
My only other thought with the crosswalk situation is if the crosswalk at 17th and Cedar is where the crossing guard is, then the crossing guard there could make sure that nobody's on the wrong side at 16th and Cedar to have to cross at the corner there. Assuming I just got the street numbers correct when I was saying that out loud. So if we do find that that four-way stop is needing a crossing guard, and they can ensure that no students are on the other side that would need to cross when they get closer, then that's potential.
Yeah, because the other thing that we're looking at right now that we want to watch is kids are going to leave school at the end of the day. And at that point, it's enticing to just say, cross me, to get to the other side of the street, going in the other direction. But we're gonna watch it. I've got it on my schedule to be out in a couple of different places to make sure that there's extra crossing support, just so that we can watch what's happening. But yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you for letting me ramble.
Absolutely.
Really quick, so what are the hours of the crossing guards?
They are out from, let's see, I think Darla and, who's at 17th and Main, and Jill, who is at 19th and Applegate, are there at 7:30. And they're there 7:30 to about 8:10-ish. And then out here, this one's been out, goes out 7:45 to 8:15. At the end of the day, the same two, Jill at 19th and Applegate is out there by 2:45, and she stays out there till pretty close to 3:30. Out here, it's when school gets out at 2:45 until probably 3 o'clock, when the majority of students get out. And then Darla actually will start just at this far parking lot here, and she will cross kids from the PES parking lot across Applegate, right there at where the parking lot comes in. And then we'll walk with them up to Main and then do her crossing there.
And so what time is that?
She gets there, when school lets out here, she's ready. So it'll be 2:45, and she's with students out that direction until 3:15, 3:30, depending upon the day. Because she gets, high schoolers get out of school at 3:10. And so if they're not drivers, we also want to make sure that we're watching out for that too.
So are we in a position where if we need additional crosswalk support, that we could ask for parent volunteers?
And that's one of the things we'll want to look at with liability and kind
Right.
of see how that one works. But we'll get creative somehow,
Right,
or find some way to be able to make it happen, because the kids' safety is first and foremost.
exactly.
There's also the collective bargaining agreement, and
Inmates.
HR rules generally state if you have a paid position, you can't have a volunteer doing the same task. So
Understood. Okay,
unfortunately, I
Sorry.
ran into that. So.
yeah, that's fine.
We should
I
not,
was
I mean, it's all great questions.
we should not use inmates.
You don't think so?
Never got it.
That won't work for work crew.
All right, moving on to the financial report.
I don't have a lot for you, but you all got your covered budget books for the year. Read them carefully. And then in the board packet is the engagement letter from the auditors, when they're ready to work this year. They'll be here end of October, early November to do the field work audit. Hopefully it'll go as smoothly as last year. We don't anticipate anything. I mentioned in my letter that our ending fund balance is a little bit higher than it has been the last few years, which is a good thing. That helps offset us running out of our ESSER funds. That has helped offset some custodial costs and equipment and everything. So that helps us there, since we had to absorb a couple positions in the general fund. And then, what's that? Oh, I wanted to share some new financial reports with you next month. Come up with some new ideas for sharing with our OASBO, the business officials group. We've had some demonstrations of some different financial reports for the board that will be helpful. I'm going to try to get away from checklisting. We talked about that a few months ago, about not having that in there. It's not a true representation of all the bills, anything. So I plan to continue putting anything over 10,000 in my letter to you. That's just a significant amount, but other than that, the board reports will just give a better overview, I think. And then if you have any questions, I would be free to ask. There's been some other districts in the state that have had some significant cash flow issues, and I want to make sure that we have that out there so you guys can see we don't have any issues. I've made up this is just a preliminary of our cash flow, so I'll have that in the packet for next month that you guys can see, just to it's a projection for the whole year of where we'll end. And it doesn't dip below 0, which is important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the last thing I had in my note to the board was all of the things that our facilities team have completed this summer beyond the big projects. And they've been busy and the grounds look great, I think, ready for school to start. So, yeah, good.
Are the budget books ours to take with us?
If you would like, you're more than welcome.
And then moving on to the English Learners Annual Report.
Yeah, the English Learners Annual Report that's in your, was in the packet, is something that if we receive federal funds, which we do, we have to take that state report and approve it every year. And of course, we then go back and take a look at it to be able to say, what does this mean for us? So in terms of some of the representation, just for quick, one of the things that it said was English learners are underrepresented in talented and gifted and advanced placement offerings, typical through the country, and through the state. The majority were in elementary grades, which is true for us here, that most of our students are elementary. When you look at the number of English learners involved in some of these, and you've got Salem Kaiser with 8,088, and we're sitting with 18?
35, I think.
Oh, 35?
Last year, maybe.
Yeah, that's bigger than I thought. I mean, so it just, do they experience more interruptions in their education and things like that? So what we do is we take that and take a look at how does this compare to what's happening for our students. But just as the fact that we receive federal funds, it's something that we need to put in front of the board and ask for acknowledgement of having seen it and read it.
Is it always a year behind?
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, am I reading the wrong copies? It's the 22-23 school year.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
that was produced in June of 2024. Yeah.
I figured. Data is very, very important, so we should always be using a year past data, as we know. Sorry. I will just tag on to that. I did attend a really interesting session at the summer conference that was around using student data for informed decision-making for board members. So I do think that's a training. If they offer it as a webinar at any point during the year, people should hop on and try and take it. It was very interesting. It was Vince Adams presenting. He had 55 slides and we made it through 17 of them. So that meant that people were very engaged. There were a lot of really fantastic questions being asked and a lot of great conversations. I think sometimes it's better to not get through all the slides and to have that opportunity. So moving on to strategy and discussion. We've got in-service week updates.
I think I kind of went through all that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, look at us. Upcoming work sessions. So we have a safety planning work session that I believe we were attempting to get scheduled.
Yeah, we haven't set yet, and with the administrators, they really don't want Fridays, and they said if we can avoid September 2nd through 6th, which is the first week of school, and then we've got, of course, our board meeting on the 12th and the back to school open house on the 18th. Anywhere around that, what we talked about was the majority of people who can make it. So, for instance, if Mike Hood has to do supervision in a game, and it's the night that we can pick, we'll just be without Mike, but we'll get as many people there from our administrative group as they can. So that was the recommendation, if we wanted to do in September, was stay away from that first week and avoid the board meeting on the 12th and the back to school open house on the 18th. So beyond that, it was kind of a whatever the board's pleasure is.
We should go ahead and try and schedule that then right now. My calendar up.
We've got the October 8th one already scheduled.
Yeah, the October 8th is already on the books.
Fall, winter, game days generally. I know football's Friday, with the exception. I think we have one Thursday, don't we?
Yeah, and then volleyball activities typically will start with JV at 4 or 4:30.
But what days?
On Mondays.
Mondays, okay.
Yeah,
That's the only one that's listed
Oh.
right now. is on Monday.
yeah, and I can look those up to be able to see.
I was just curious, because I know typically like basketball is usually Tuesdays and Fridays, and then.
I think every night there is
Something.
some sports related activity. Okay, so we're looking at potentially the week of September 9th through the 12th, really, if we're waiting Fridays. Oh, that's fantastic, the second Friday of the school year is. Ooh. How many people use that as an excuse?
Well, I've got some winter meetings set up that day.
Does anyone have conflicts that week that we need to avoid, or?
Well, I have a different meeting on the 10th, Tuesday the 10th, but it's an afternoon meeting from like 3:30 to 4:30, so
Okay.
if we did an evening session, then.
Do you have a specific preference? No? If things finally almost normalize to a human
Slow
level?
down just a
Okay.
little bit now.
Okay.
I'm out of town the 9th through 11th.
Okay, so then we need to look at the following week.
Probably,
Um,
Wednesday, because that's the open house.
yes, and I will be out of town Wednesday through Friday of that week. So if we could do Monday or Tuesday, that would be absolutely fantastic.
What are those dates again?
16th
The
or
16th or the
17th.
17th, yeah.
I'm good either one of those days.
Is there one that's out here?
Preference.
My calendar, but I
What I can do is look for games and stuff on the 16th and 17th. if
Okay,
you want to look
whichever
at
one's
either one of
more open.
those. And then that'll give you a chance to look at your
Yes.
calendar and.
And
I'm
then
sure
you
it's
can hear
on
from
my
Ryan
call,
also.
too.
So either the 16th or the 17th, and we'll find out for sure
Okay.
at that point. Thank you.
Any particulars on time?
work session.
As long, and preferably starting at like
Not-
5:30.
And say not too early because of the people that work.
Right. So I'll just say 5:30 or later. Ryan, what's that?
That's fine.
Okay.
Then
Thank
we
you.
will look for an informational email with that.
Yep.
Finalized.
Yep.
Okay, and then on October 8th, we already know what we're working on there.
Can I jump in on work sessions, or where are we with strategic planning? Is that coming up in work session, or is that?
That's going to be a part of our planning session on October 8th.
Okay, it's not planning session, but it didn't say anything about strategic.
Whatever, it was kind of like, I don't remember what the.
That's fine, just want to make sure
Yeah.
it was on there.
Yep, it's there.
And then with work session on the mind, has OSBA been contacted about the board self-evaluation process and getting that kicked off with them?
They have, and then Michelle took off and went on vacation and just got back today.
Okay.
So.
So more to come in
More to come,
September.
but yeah,
or before.
he's been contacted.
We just needed to set a date,
Okay.
which should be different from the October 18th.
Yes.
Right, okay.
We may have to just add an extra work session in
Okay.
October. Okay, and then I wanted, the agenda item I added was to talk about the OSBA LGBTQIA2S+ Advisory Committee. I have some handouts here. I only have one that's for the board members. I handed out the rest of them, but I have some that are directed toward students who are involved. Sure, just front and back of that one. So the ask that I'm bringing before the board, I sit on this advisory committee. I've been a member of this committee for the last year. And the goal is this fall to become a caucus of OSBA. And as an advisory committee, we have regular meetings. They are public meetings, so minutes and recordings are available if anybody wants to try and catch up. They're on the OSBA website. And the idea is that we would be working to help bring awareness and support to the specific and unique needs of board members, school district employees, superintendents, and students who are members of the various LGBTQ communities. This comes in a lot of ways. It's about making sure we have some legislative voice. Turning this advisory committee into a caucus would also give the caucus a vote on the OSBA board of directors and have a seat on the legislative policy group, which is the LPG that was mentioned earlier. And that means that when OSBA, et cetera, is meeting with legislators at the state level, that there would be representation from this group at those for high-level decision-making, recommendations for funding, support, resources, education, et cetera. But a very large part of this is actually going to be getting resources and education in the hands of board members to help support their individual districts in implementation of the Oregon Department of Education's student success plan as it relates to the LGBTQ students and staff members and board members and everyone. One of the things that was really eye-opening for me being involved in this group is that primarily, with the exception of, I believe, 2 members of this advisory committee, the membership is all coming from rural communities. So it's been made very clear that rural communities would very much like this as a resource for their students, et cetera, just like students, et cetera, at the same time. So my ask of you all, once we get this back, there's information on this handout, including a QR code with additional resources and information. But I am asking that we as a board or as individual board members can write letters of support to send to the OSBA Board of Directors. They need to vote on whether to put the formation of this caucus to the general OSBA membership to vote. So if the board doesn't vote to send it to all of the board members across the state, we will go back again in the future and ask again. We'll still be an advisory committee. The work will still be happening, and it will just be perhaps a little slower to occur. And if the board does not approve to send to the membership, then the membership isn't even going to know that this is something that's happening.
The
unfortunately.
OSBA.
The OSBA membership. So all of the school board members in Oregon will get an opportunity to vote on whether to make this a caucus. It does come with a budget, comes with 2 seats. As I mentioned, one on the board, one on LPG. Why can't I always want to say LPGA. I'm like, why? Where does that come from? Like, yeah, suddenly we're golfing, and that's something that I should never try to do. That's a fun story for another time. So I just wanted to bring that before you. I'm not normally sitting in this seat, so it feels a little weird sitting in this seat doing this, but if you have any questions, we can answer them right now. I can talk to you afterward. We could potentially draft a letter where the whole board, or any board members who would like to sign it can sign it. Also, anyone else in the district who might be interested in signing it, and putting support out there. We're really looking for voices from educators, maybe from students. We have seen several letters of support from students in different districts, which is fantastic. Mount Hood Community College board wrote a group letter. Some other boards have written group letters, and then a lot of individual letters of support. We just really want the OSBA board to be aware that this is a topic that is relevant to every single school district in the state. Yeah, I just talked a lot. Does anyone have any questions about that? So we don't have to take action on it right now. And I can draft a letter, and whoever would be interested in signing it,
Sure.
can just shoot me an email and let me know, and I will put it online probably and let people just go in and sign it online. Thank you so much for making copies.
I failed miserably copying one of them.
Oh, I've got 2 signatures.
No, you've
Oh,
got-
no, staple.
Well, because it's so
The
small, I
double-sided.
got
Gotcha.
Okay, thank you
to
so
work
much.
through the.
Copies for everyone. We can vote whether we want to do this, or people can just individually contribute a letter of support. I will leave that up to all of you.
Is there a timeline on this?
Preferably by the end of the month. The board, the
End of
OSBA.
August or end of?
Yes, end of August. The OSBA board meets September 14th and 15th, I believe. Either 13th and 14th or 14th and 15th. I don't remember if it's Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. And so we'd like to put all of the letters of support in advance of that meeting. And if anyone has any questions on the timeline, I know you've got the handout after I was done talking, and your printout is black, oh, you can see the color shift. The blue part at the top is everything that we've already done or are in the process of doing, and the green is sort of future state, just to clarify that. And our very own former Paloma School District, Jean Chapizzi, is the OSBA employee who works with us. It's kind of fun. I still get to see her regularly, I know. Okay, moving on from that to what I believe says discussion and action items. I got half on each page. Yes, we have policies. We have 5 policies. We can take them all at once. We can break them apart, just depending on preference. And if anyone has any questions, let me know. I did forget to bring my policy.
I have a question kind of regarding these policies, maybe those people would answer. Like, we have this training we have to do online, but we are not background checked for, they should skip these online trainings that you can just cheat your way through and background check board members.
We actually did, I believe last month, approve the policy that adds background checks into, wasn't that last
I
month?
thought so.
Isn't every single person involved in a school district background checked except the board members?
No longer.
That was a
As
change
of
we
last
made.
month, we approved the policy to update the board component of that to require us
So
to
from
have
now
background
on,
checks
you
as
board
well.
members can go get it.
So if you haven't, you should do that. I've got mine because I should check to make sure it's not expired. As a 18-year, well, if you've been here for 17 years, that means, so have I, as a parent. So that many years of being a volunteer in the district.
Well, as a teacher,
I'm pretty sure.
I've approved volunteers, I've got background checked.
Yes, you were background checked as a volunteer.
Apparently I asked.
So are there any questions?
I do.
About policies VBFC, CBC, JGA, JH, or KBAAR? And again, we don't have to approve the AR, it's just in here for review and understanding.
We met last month at the policy committee meeting and got through all of these and, yeah.
So you want to approve them as a set?
I would.
I'm happy to, as long as nobody has any specific
I move
questions.
we approve these as a set.
I second that.
Fantastic, any questions? All right, let's do a vote, huh?
Yep.
All those in favor? All right, motion passes 4 with 1 absent. 4 to 0 with 1 absent. There we go, I said all the numbers. Wow, look at us, meeting closure. Do we have any requested agenda items for our next meeting, which would be the September
That'd be after the
regular
work
board
session.
meeting?
No, the work session October.
It will be the week before our next work session.
Because we moved it up to the 12th because of, I don't remember why.
We should get an
Oh, we
update.
picked the second Tuesday.
Yes, for second
Yeah, we moved to the
Tuesday.
second Tuesday, consistent.
So we should have a review of.
You mean
the
second
process.
Thursday?
Or second
Yeah.
Thursday, excuse me, my bad. I knew it was one of those
Tuesday is the
days.
second day of the work week, so I understand how your brain went there.
We should have an agenda items review of the crossing guards and how that's working with the new streets and the new
Okay.
flow and all that.
And I'd also like to review the update on the construction projects, just to be sure everything's all wrapped up.
And then I had from our conversation earlier about the Region 10 OSBA determination of compliance.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, you'll send us out an email about this that we can put a tag on to or whatever.
Yes, I will. Okay. Then, if there are no other agenda items to add, we'll move on to board things.
Thanks everybody in the district for working so hard to get things going, because it's gonna be really busy for the next 9 months.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say a week or two, and I was gonna go. I just want to thank everybody. You know, I'm grateful we have such a great district, and I've said it before, I feel blessed to be here.
thanks to everyone as always, but especially everyone who had to really step up over the summer to make sure the construction projects were moving forward, that what I'm guessing was a bolus of paperwork happened over the summer. And I shared my things last month, and I'm gonna share them again since registration just happened this week, and we, had that in-person reminder, getting the free lunch for free breakfast and lunch for all of the students in the district is so amazing. So thank you again to everybody who worked on that. It's gonna make a very large difference in a lot of kids' lives to not have to worry about that.
Thankful that the weather has been cooler than average for the last few weeks. That's probably helped out with some things.
That was my birthday wish, and you're all
Let me back up the board request real quick. So we never got an answer on the elementary school money for the requesting for.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We didn't get that. Okay.
I skipped over that, sorry.
Yeah.
So all ASB fees would go straight to the elementary school. So if you want to check in with the principal, Erin, and Laura Shun, office manager, they give you an idea of what they would have anticipated collecting, and then it would all just go through the elementary school.
Okay.
And just let me know. Okay.
Well, I'll try to get that information prior to our next meeting, because I'm sure they don't get money right. I don't know what they
I
asked.
think it'll probably be okay 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
They know it's on its way. Okay, then any board requests?
Yes, I have one. On October 12th, from 9 to 11 o'clock at Timbertown, there is going to be a community meet and greet, and Chris knows more about this than I do, but we talked about it today, where representatives from different facets of community leadership, fair to say, will come together and just talk with people. And I plan to be there. I think it'd be great if one other board member was there, if you could make it. But I think it's really good to get different facets of the
What time?
community together. From 9 to 11, I think I said 9 to 12. 9 to 11.
I might be going.
Chris, you want to add to that?
Sure, so basically, in like the winter and spring, the city council started doing like these little counselor coffees. And then we haven't done them over the summer because we've been at the farmer's market. But the plan is in October to start them up again because the farmer's market will be ending. And then County Commissioner Pat Malone had reached out wanting to just join one of them. And then I was talking to Sandy earlier and I was like, wait a minute, idea. What if we also got the school board and just kind of turn it into, a one-stop shop for any community member that wants to chat local government. So that's the plan, is to have some city council representation, county commission representation, school board. I'll put out, a word to the fire board or something if they're interested too, just because Sandy and I were talking about, as our discussion earlier in this meeting showed, there's a lot of people that come to the city for a county issue or come to the school district for a city issue, and it's nice if we're all just sitting around the same table, then we don't have to tell people to go email someone else. So
Yeah, and what we were going to try to do too was the meet the board kind of thing, and I feel like we could maybe,
Yeah, and worst case, no one shows up, and then we just get to have a great time and catch up with each other, so, yeah.
And I'll say, once we mix in other boards, we are a little bit less under the umbrella of public meeting law because we would not be forming any determinations. We wouldn't be voting on anything. It's an informational session. I also learned a little bit more about public meeting law at the conference, so I can share that information with everyone.
Well, and Chris was saying the meetings will be announced publicly, we'll follow those rules, and there will be a public notice about the meetings.
I'll need to double check that with the staff, but we can't.
And you may not be required to do that because there won't be business being determined.
Yes.
That's true.
So.
Our city recorder is very by the book on those things, so
Yes.
I want to verify that before I say anything, but
Because if it is an official public meeting, you have to record it.
yes. So it may be easier if we just avoid having any quorum of any of our bodies there, but I can check on that.
And I can also
also
check
have
on
two
these.
representatives there.
Yeah.
Without breaking reality.
Right.
Yeah, for us.
For us.
Like all the town hall.
Maybe, we try to keep it a little more casual, just coffee conversation, then sometimes people get intimidated by town halls.
Imagine that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think it's good to try it
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
everybody, you know, all the different, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so thanks for including us on that.
yeah, thank you, I hope to see some of you there.
I'm always down for coffee. Okay, well, if there are no other requests from or for the board here, I'm going to officially adjourn, and there's the big apple, sorry.
Good job, Erin, good job.
I don't love that sound.
See you later.
Absolutely.
Good job.
The public.
Now that it'll be more than
I'm
city council.
Right.
It was